And so Google has taken this title, Ream Heating, Cooling, and Water Heating Products, and has made this the title of this website that shows up on the search engine. And that title is being pulled directly from the title section of that website, which you can specify here within our tools. Now, that's important because Google is giving you control or the ability to specify the titles of your website. Now, there is...
You mean of the actual pages?
Sorry, of the actual pages. I guess that's the reason why everybody's confused on that. They keep asking me, is this for the site or for the page? I apologize for that. This is for the page. But if you don't choose a title for your site, Google will actually choose one for you. And it may not be very nice. It may just pull some text from your website. And so you really want to make sure that you choose the title of your web pages. Description is the same, is exactly the same as the title. You want to have a separate description describing your page and your products and services, but make sure it's unique to the individual page and different throughout your pages. And they take that information and display it here on the search engines underneath your title. So for this ream.com website, we have tank water heaters, tankless water heaters, commercial products, indoor air quality, and so on. And we can look at a few other ones here and see some other descriptions. Tankless water heater guide has information in tankless water heaters operation, selection, and so on. Some of these are worded keyword rich, meaning that really for somebody to read this, it's not necessarily something that's readable as in sentences, but more like phrases, and that's okay. But it's not recommended to do something like that all the time. But every once in a while, like in this situation here, it seems to be working for some of these, and that might be unique depending on the individual competition for this keyword and so on. But you can see that the description is displayed under the title. And again, the search engines, if you don't specify your title, will select one for you. Maybe pairing a few sentences off of your website and just displaying it here. So again, you want to make sure you have a title and a description for each of your pages. The next section is keywords, and these are words or phrases that people might search for on the search engines. One of the common questions that we get from, or one of the common issues we run into with people choosing keywords is they're business orientated and they're familiar with their terminology and the professional terms and things like that within their own industry. So they could send us a list of keywords that are, and I don't have an example off the top of my head, but maybe instead of a certain field, it might be a specific terminology that's only used within that industry. That's something that I may not know as a person searching for their particular products. So if I wanted to search for some lotion, I'm probably going to search for the type of lotion that I would like to get rather than the certain chemicals that are in the lotion and different things like that. So it's wise to think what your customers might search for, or people who don't understand your products as well but are looking for those products, what they might search for, to kind of get an eye for the keywords that you need to use on your website. The other suggestion that you need to be aware of with keywords is the search engines really, some of them could just care less for the keywords that you put here. Some of them have limits on how many keywords they accept. Maybe it's 7, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 20. So my recommendation is that, if you have, 20 or more keywords, put them in there, but put your most important keywords first. In case you do have a search engine that only takes the first 10, then you're not losing your main or priority keywords. The other thing is that those keywords that you do choose really should be used within the text of your website. If you don't use it within the text of your website, again, kind of to the search engines, they don't feel that it's as relevant as a site that you might be competing with that's using that keyword throughout the paragraphs of their website, pretty frequently. And so those are some things to keep in mind when you're working with keywords. Is what would customers search for to find your products and services? Now, if your customers are technical people within your field and they understand those terms and that's the only thing they're going to be searching for, then use them. But get an idea of who your market or your customers are and how they might search for your products and services. Do some research, do some discovery and finding of those keywords. Put those keywords in your keyword section here, and then put them throughout the text of your website. We're going to show you later how you can actually put these keywords in here in this section, but these are some things to keep in mind. The next thing is your sitemap. Now the sitemap is something, now there's really two kinds of sitemaps, so I don't want to confuse anybody here, but the sitemap that we're talking about here right now is something that only the search engines see. This is something that you will probably see only a few times, only when you're updating your website. This is something that your customers will never see. And the other type of a sitemap is a sitemap that for your site, more like an index of your site. It could be a page that has all of the links on that page for everything that you can get to on your website, all of your pages, different things like that, more like a directory of your own site.
So one sitemap is for the search engine to read, and one sitemap is for the users of your website to read.
That's correct. And they both have their own purposes. The sitemap for users or for people visiting your website to read is more for them to be able to find the things that they're looking for within your website, more of like a directory. On the same side of the token is the search engine sitemap is more of a directory or a listing for the search engines. It basically tells the search engines all the pages that are included in your site, how often they get updated, and what their priority is in relation to each other, or more or less what pages you feel people should see the most or go to first, before they get to anywhere, any of the other places on your website. So those are the two different sitemaps, and the one that we're working with is, again, the one that's only for the search engines, and we will show you later how to edit this information and update it. The last thing is your robot instructions, and again, this is something for the search engines. Now, if you haven't figured it out already, most of what we're doing right here now is for the search engines, and that's really what search engine optimization is all about, and these tools help us with that. We've brought them all into this one place, Easy Page Manager, to be able to work with all of this information all at the same time with one update or one edit without having to waste our whole day trying to do this. We can do this pretty quickly now and efficiently. But robot instructions tell the search engines how to handle this particular page, and we will go through some of those options later. So the next thing that we're going to do, and as you can tell here, we've got some controls here. Probably the most important one that we use is the refresh. Every once in a while, when we're working on a website, sometimes if your computer times out, it doesn't necessarily update this page or refresh. And so if you just hit the simple refresh button, it will update all of this information just in case. And then that way you're not having to enter it in twice or figure that, hey, I put that information in there, but it's already gone. What's going on? Or it didn't update. Just hit the refresh button and it should update. And again, this is something that you rarely experience, but this is probably the most common thing that we use. And then you do have your options of sorting your pages or filtering your pages, which is very useful, especially if you might have some customers or you might go onto the search engines and realize that some of your pages don't have meta tags on them. So if that's the case, then if we filter by incomplete meta tags, then we could see all the pages that don't have anything, like, for instance, our description and our keywords are blank on this particular page. Now, this might be a page we don't want this information on, but if it is a page we do want to have this information on, then now we know that we can go and update this page and get the correct description and keywords on this page. Whereas it's showing that we have a title and sitemap information, robot instructions set up for this, but maybe they're not exactly what we want. For instance, do we really want this page to say the name of your business goes here? Probably not. So we would update and change this page. So you do have some filter options here which do help with managing a site, especially if you start getting a website that's 10 or more pages. The next thing that we're going to cover is our edit meta tags option. And so we can just go right directly to that section just by clicking on this link. we'll get a little pop-up window here that has all of our information that we were just looking at, now separated into these different fields where we can edit this information. For instance, here at the title, we can see that this is the title of this particular page that we had previous. And so you can see here EasyNet Tools, EasyForum, Webinar, and so on.